From Saldus Lafayette to the world, and Michael Crow here. This weekend I had a reminder about being faithful even with the little things. I've been doing music ministry since 1985, and of course back then I had these grandiose ideas of doing big stadiums and, being up there with Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith and so forth. But the Lord did not direct me in that direction. In fact, the first ministry thing I ever did was a small little church in Derby Acres, California, where the people, our congregation size was 40 people, and we, the staff, were the youngest people. The pastor was 20, I was 19, and the associate pastor was 19, and the congregation was age 40 on up. I also call it the colorful church because everyone had a last name. Their last name was a color. Brother and sister blue, brother and sister green, brother and sister brown, brother and sister white. I'm not joking. But it was in this little church in the middle of nowhere that the Lord helped me write the song Trust in You, which 15 years later I would sing in front of the nation for the Columbine situation. And the Lord would open doors for me to minister in big arenas, big churches to small churches, to even a home group of 5 people or 8 or sometimes 1-on-1. And he would remind me, I did not call you to be famous. I called you to be faithful in whatever I give you. And that's something that I had to wrestle with because I would feel kind of, jealous because there were other recording artists that started popping up, and I knew some of them when they were children. And all of a sudden they're, boom, here's so-and-so, and there's so-and-so. I'm like, I know these kids, And I realized that, wait a minute, first of all, I'm not them, Yes, they have the edgier sound, and I sound like a choir boy. They got all this uppity electrical music and I'm acoustic, but they're able to reach a group of people that I couldn't reach, and yet the Lord has wired me in a way and given me a musical style that's allowed me to minister to a group of people that they most likely could not reach. And the Lord allows me to do traveling even to this day, although of course this year's not been quite the same, And what's funny is, I live in a country that no one really knows about. I live in the middle of the country that's just out there, out yonder. And yet I laugh that from a country and from a country home that no one knows about, he sends me literally now all over the world. And of course, the ministry I've been doing has changed dramatically from being a musician to a missionary. And the other thing, too, that I learned is you never know who's watching you. And literally, in this case, I was greatly encouraged by our guest pastor we had at church, who I never met until literally after service. He comes right up to me and just sits down and looks at me and starts sharing how I greatly encouraged him, and that he discovered me through the internet and said, I sat there and, for an hour or so, looked at your page, your videos, and was greatly blessed and encouraged in my own ministry. And I'm like, sitting there like, wow, But, I didn't realize that someone was watching what I did. And I think that's a reminder for us as believers that we are being watched. And, we might think, who's really going to notice what I'm doing? Little old me out here in nowhere land. Well, you never know. Like I tell you, when I was at the school, opening doors for the kids, might be the most mundane thing to a lot of people, but to me, it might be the very thing the kid needed to see a human being that loves and cares for them as they come to school. So I was reminded, just being faithful with the little things, and the Lord in His time will give you the big things. So with that, I hope you have a great Tuesday wherever you're at. And until next time, stay warm wherever you're at, and God bless.